another brand new live edition of Talkin Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you until 9 a.m. today. 31 degrees as you make your way into work, into school, wherever you may be headed on this Tuesday morning. I think I said Wednesday. It is only a Tuesday morning, but welcome in nonetheless. We have got a lot of stuff on the table to get through on this Tuesday. College football providing plenty of storylines once again. Miami has a new head coach. The old head coach not happy about how things went down getting the new said head coach and said so yesterday. Some college football awards being handed out. And oh, by the way, the Heisman ballots were due yesterday at 4 p.m. Shortly after that, they released the finalists for the Heisman Trophy. Hey, no surprise here. Bryce Young, a Heisman finalist, as is Michigan senior defensive end Aiden Hutchinson and Pittsburgh senior quarterback Kenny Pickett, along with Ohio State freshman quarterback C.J. Stroud. Now, Bryce Young is looking to help Alabama get back-to-back Heisman winners, but also become the first Alabama quarterback to ever win the Heisman, going in as the favorite. He's the favorite, but guess what? Oh, my goodness. Aiden Hutchinson's numbers are so impressive. So impressive. Best defensive numbers in all of college football.
Unless you forget Will Anderson plays the game.
What do you mean?
Can you read? Can any of you morons read in the Big Ten country? Can any of you read? Do any of you have any comprehension of what you're watching? You obviously don't. He has more sacks, more tackles for loss, made more plays, done everything better than Aiden Hutchinson, and he won the Bronco Nagurski Award as the National Defensive Player of the Year, but he's not worthy of Heisman consideration because you mutton brains don't know what you're watching, because you're too stupid to know who to vote for. Probably all of you went to the Dan Woken School of Journalism. You're all idiots. Thank you very much.
That is how we start our Tuesday edition, 256-576-4977. Indeed.
Anybody that did not have Will Anderson on their Heisman ballot is an idiot and doesn't deserve to vote ever again. Period.
Will Anderson, 32.5 tackles for loss, 15.5 sacks.
Both lead the nation
on the season.
Let me say that again. Both lead the nation.
Aiden Hutchinson had just 33 solo tackles, 58 total, 2 forced fumbles. Now, here's the thing.
Great player, but he's not Will Anderson.
Yeah, and I'll say this.
Sorry.
Will Anderson from start to finish was phenomenal. Okay, Will Anderson from start of the year to now was phenomenal. He didn't let up. Aiden Hutchinson had a big moment in the Michigan-Ohio State game. One big moment in the Michigan-Ohio State game in front of a national audience that keeps getting replayed and replayed and replayed and replayed. What Will Anderson did was better from start to finish. Aiden Hutchinson had a great performance, not taking that away. He just had it at a moment where it captivated the nation, and that is what most people saw only.
Well, because they weren't watching the Iron Bowl, and then what they'll say is, well, Auburn was a 500 team. Well, who cares? Congratulations. Michigan finally beat Ohio State after almost a decade, okay?
Yeah.
So they overplay that because they think it's the best rivalry in college football, which it's not, and it's never been. It's not a rivalry if you've lost 15 out of 17, you morons. It's called getting your ass kicked every season. So now the sun has shined on the dog's ass, which is Jim Harbaugh, and so now all of a sudden he's great again. These guys and these people that cover these teams are stupid. They don't know what they're doing. You had 3 sports writers who should have their credentials revoked. One from New Jersey, one from Ohio, and one from Durham, North Carolina, where a basketball probably hit her in the head. And she voted Alabama third, and so did the other 2. Give them no credit for beating the supposed generational defense and the Georgia Steel Curtain and kicking their ass all over the field and winning the SEC championship. But Michigan and Cincinnati are the 2 better teams. Now, that'll play itself out in the college football playoff, but to give Alabama no credit for winning the SEC shows how really stupid you are. And, yes, you should be called out publicly for it because you're stupid.
And that is in reference to the college football AP poll that came out that, yes, there were voters that put Alabama third, that voted Alabama third in the AP poll this past week, even after beating number 1 Georgia in the SEC championship game. All right, let's get out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. It's open for you, 256-576-4977. Your thoughts on the Heisman finalist, Will Anderson getting snubbed in invitation to New York City. We want to get your thoughts, 256-576-4977. Randy's with us out of the gates. Good morning, Randy.
Good morning, fellas. Well, Scott, I agree 100% with Drew. I said this a long time ago. They're stupid. I mean, anybody could see, even if, Bryce ought to win it straight out. But if he shouldn't, it should be that number 31 defensive guy for Alabama.
Will Anderson.
I mean, these people are ignorant. I watched that Michigan game, too. I don't think the boy done as good as they say he did.
Well,
I mean, he in
is
that
a
game,
really good player. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from him. I'm just saying that Will Anderson deserved the recognition as well. I mean, that's ridiculous to me. And then one member of the media said, well, I voted for Bryce Young. And then he said, but I didn't see Will Anderson enough. And I'm like,
you know what that means?
that means he's on the same team, pal.
That
Did
means
you not
he
watch
watched
the game. You
no,
watched
no,
the
he
highlights.
didn't. Exactly. That's
all,
what they
watched
did. They
highlights,
watched
bro.
the highlights, and that's
and,
all
and,
they
and
do.
I'll freely admit, have I watched the whole Michigan game? No, I have not, because they're not on in my region. But I'm just saying, I agree with Aaron Suttles, except for I want to tweak it a little bit. He said that you should take it out of radio and sports writers' hands and have a committee. I think that you should have a committee. I agree with that. But I think there should be some sports writers one of their jobs is you have to watch all the teams play, and even maybe a national radio guy. Not a Colin Cowherd, because he doesn't know what college football is if it's not Southern Cal, but somebody that you would trust, that's maybe a Freddie Coleman, somebody like that you would think would watch the games, or an Ian Fitzsimmons. Put somebody like that on there and then let them vote. Yeah. I mean, again, it's not that I'm saying Will should win the award. I'm saying he should have been a finalist. If you're going to put Aiden Hutchinson and some of these, and C.J. Stroud and Kenny Pickett and some of these guys. Kenny Pickett's team lost to Western Michigan.
Right.
It wasn't his fault, all of that, but I'm just saying he played
as
well.
a Heisman voter myself, I'm not going to reveal my ballot because we've been asked not to do that. I'm not going to reveal my ballot. But I will say this. But I will say this. Will Anderson's name was on said ballot.
Yeah, and I think he was on some ballots. It just wasn't on, and they were probably Southeastern based.
Yes,
but they just weren't on the national people. And if you can't see through highlights that Will Anderson, or even just look at Alabama's Twitter account, look at numbers, I just don't get it. I think it's lazy.
All right, one more point, bud, and we got to move on.
Go ahead, Randy.
Okay.
Go ahead, bud. What's up, Randy?
I don't know what these people are voting on.
Yeah, I don't either. All right, Randy, thanks for the call, bud.
Thanks, bud.
Let's go to Josh on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Good morning, Josh.
Hey, guys.
What's up? Going on?
So I watched the interview of Will Anderson after the game on Saturday, and he said that Bryce Young's to win the Heisman. So do you think maybe there was something within the media, I guess, camp at Alabama that they didn't want Will Anderson necessarily on it to split the vote? They've done in the past?
Nah, I don't think so. I just think some of it's Bama fatigue, and they don't like Alabama, especially the three, Mo, Larry, and Curly that I just talked about that voted Alabama third in the country and basically gave them no credit because they were third going into the game with Georgia, and they beat Georgia, and they vote them third like it doesn't count.
I mean, I think you hit
can't
something.
Fix stupid.
I think you hit something on the head there. I think for a lot of Heisman voters, Josh, I think what it is they just don't want to put Bryce Young and Will Anderson on the ballot at the same time from the same team. Yeah. They just don't want to do it.
Some of that.
And so they looked at it and said Michigan is in the playoffs. They've exercised a lot of demons. Aiden Hutchinson has had great numbers. So let's put him down on there. They just will not put two players from the same team in the top three.
But the thing is, Scott,
how much?
Go ahead, Josh.
How much of that is sports marketing too, though? where they can say Heisman Trophy Alabama player, Heisman Trophy defensive end Michigan, and all that stuff too.
Well, it's part of it, and part of it is being – no, I could say something, but part of it's everybody – I guess the best way for me to put it is everybody gets a trophy, and you don't want to showcase one program over another, even though the said program has been beating the hell out of everybody and has been the best easily in college football. But, I mean, it is what it is. I'll say this, too. All those young people that got voted as finalists deserve it. I mean, Pitt won the ACC.
Yes.
And they're going to a Big Six bowl.
And Kenny Pickett he had phenomenal numbers.
Yeah, he had a phenomenal senior season. Pat Narduzzi, those guys.
Yes.
It's their best season in year. I'm not taking anything away from that. But, Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, though. It all depends on votes, but there's no limit on finalists, correct? I mean, I don't. They invite
the people that have a certain amount of votes to New York City. There's a limit on where they draw the line. So when all this comes out, Will Anderson could be fifth in the Heisman voting.
Right.
When this is all said and done and they reveal everything, Will Anderson could be fifth overall. Mm-hmm. He just didn't get the line of percentage of votes did not earn him a trip to New York City. Now, he could finish fifth. He could finish sixth in the Heisman voting race still once all these votes are tabulated. It'll be interesting to see because back in the day, and I say back in the day, when college football was not on ESPN 24/7, it was on just ABC, CBS. It was very regionalized. You would wake up and see a Big Ten game being played in the afternoon, but it wouldn't be on as much in the South as it was in the Midwest. The SEC was heavily down here, but you wouldn't watch it as much.
I agree with you there.
And so then your votes were very regionalized.
Yeah, but now there's no
like
excuse
Bo
for that.
Jackson, Chuck Long, back in the day.
But see, now there's all these networks, though. These
now,
Big Ten networks, the SEC network.
That's why I'll be interested to see how the votes played out versus the region, versus Will Anderson in the southern region, Aiden Hutchinson in the Midwest, Kenny Pickett in the East. I'll be interested to see how those votes play out once they're released in the region. Mm-hmm. All right.
No question.
256-576-4977. Get in on the Heisman conversation this morning. Again, it's Bryce Young. These are the finalists. Bryce Young, Aiden Hutchinson, Kenny Pickett, and C.J. Stroud. Those are your four finalists for the Heisman Trophy. Vegas still says Bryce Young will win overwhelmingly in Vegas. All right, Richard's with us now this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Good morning, Richard.
Morning, guys. I just, Drew, your idea or Aaron's about the committee makes sense to make them actually watch, not highlights, but like all the defensive or offensive plays, almost like a coaching film.
Yeah, I agree.
Almost like the NCAA committee. You get together and watch. Like I said, these coaching films are just play after play. It's not commercials. But you would watch all the defensive plays, for Alabama versus Auburn, Alabama versus Arkansas, and you get it to like 10 or 12 players and have these guys watch them or narrow it down to 10 players or something. And like I said, with these, if you ever, Drew, you've probably seen coaching films, but I mean, they cut out all the, in between, and it's just the plays.
That's right.
Out there where like a defensive game, and Will Anderson, may not play every play. Mm-hmm. Where it might only take them to watch a game, 10 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Out, and you could kind of tell, you watch 10 games of his, 10 games of Bryce Young, 10 games of Kenny Pickett, out, and you could kind of tell who's good or bad, and especially if you have coaches, on the committee.
Well, or you could even have somebody to represent the Southeastern Conference in the Southeastern region, but he's also considered a national voice, like a Paul Feinbaum. Who you hear here every day. I mean, Feinbaum could be, on the Heisman committee. That's the way I think he could be represented, and use sports writers and other former coaches and things of that nature from throughout the regions of the country that have a chance to watch some of these kids play. It's just like when you have the committee for the college football playoffs. So to me, that's the way they should handle the Heisman Trophy. So, and then it'll give a defensive player like a Will Anderson or an Aiden Hutchinson, who are both very deserving, a chance to win the award, because I actually think Will could be the best player in the country. And I love Bryce Young. I love what he's done. Yeah. But as you know, it's become an offensive award and a quarterback, running back. And Devontae Smith broke through for wide receivers last year.
Yeah, there's 900, about 1,000 Heisman voters. It sits around 980 Heisman voters. Now, remember, every Heisman winner gets a Heisman vote as well. Once you win the Heisman, you get a Heisman vote.
NIL question, I guess if Bryce wins it, he can be on the commercial with all the other guys, can he?
I guess.
Yeah, the Nissan Heisman House.
The Heisman House, yes.
Yeah, I would think he'd be the first, I guess you would say professional to be on there, because I think, I think the Clemson quarterback's on the Subway commercials already, I believe. So I would assume that, he will be on there hanging out with Devontae and Herschel and all the crews. So.
Yeah, whoever wins the Heisman this year, and we assume Bryce Young, they will be the first Heisman winner to have that NIL deal to where they can appear with Nissan in the Heisman House. Yeah. You are correct, yes.
Hey, Drew, I went up to the Gonzaga game in Seattle.
Did you really? Wow.
Oh, yeah, had a great time. I met up with a bunch of folks in Seattle and Portland, Bama fans, and watched the football game, and then went over and hung out and went to the basketball game. I tell you what, it was supposedly a neutral site, but those folks got into it. I mean, it was 18,000 people yelling. It was loud.
I can imagine. I knew it was a pro-Gonzaga crowd. We knew it would be. But as we said yesterday, and we're going to talk to hopefully Brian Pasick later this week, that it was a great breakthrough for Alabama. As many big wins as Nate Oates has had in 2 years, it was probably the biggest considering the national stage and who they were playing and the caliber of opponent of Gonzaga. But it just shows Alabama has reloaded. Of course, they're going to have to continue now to change their mindset from the standpoint they're going to be a hunted team themselves. But certainly it was good to see J.D. Davison continue to evolve and develop. And Jaden Shackelford played tremendous basketball, and they played through dubious officiating is all I'll say.
A funny story, a couple of younger guys behind us, I walk in, and they realize I'm a Bama fan. And he goes, "Can't you just be happy winning 400 national championships in football and leave basketball to us?"
Well, Gonzaga is a great story, though, because they have outgrown being a mid-major, flying the ointment program. They are now a national program. They are arguably, Scott, and I understand the pedigree of UCLA and the 11 national championships, but they are arguably the best program on the West Coast.
Oh, they are.
And, and they are definitely the most consistent.
UCLA's coming back.
Right.
They still got some ways to go, but Mick Cronin has UCLA coming back. But no, Gonzaga's the standard.
Yeah.
All right, Richard, thanks for the call.
Go ahead, Rich.
I think they've been to 20 tournaments in a row or something. Too.
Yeah, it's
pretty amazing.
It's an astonishing
we'll see you guys later.
Thank you,
thanks, Richard. Let's get a break in. Oh, by the way, the people in Seattle, though, they're hungry for basketball. They want the Sonics back.
They want a team.
They want a basketball.
Because they still have WNBA, right? The Seattle Storm.
Yeah,
that makes no sense.
We'll go. Yeah, they have the Kraken.
Oh, and I love the nickname the Kraken. That's really cool.
It is one of the best names. We need to get some Kraken apparel. But anyway, let's take a break. When we come back, Mac Jones was dealing it last night, and I mean slinging it everywhere.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got a wreck on 31 near Sandifer Road. That one's got some southbound blockage. Everything else looks pretty good. You have to go all the way to Coleman to find a problem. That one's at the 297 south side of Coleman. Had two different wrecks there. They've had I-65 southbound detoured. From routine care to heart failure, Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialists have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
So close to home, just 5 miles from downtown Huntsville, Montesano State Park sits on over 2,000 acres with spectacular vistas from atop Montesano Mountain. And right now would be a great time to purchase our zone deal so you can plan your getaway and save money. Get a 2-night stay in a cabin at Montesano State Park for the price of just 1 night, only $140. Get your zone deal before they're gone at 977ESPN.com.
Tom Luganbill here for Woody Anderson Ford. When I was in the Tennessee Valley, one of the things that impressed me the most was the quality of the people. People like Bobby White and his team at Woody Anderson Ford. And now you can experience the tremendous new service lanes and showroom at Woody Anderson Ford, at Jordan and Sparkman, or just stop by for breakfast or lunch at Henry's Mustang Cafe. And in Madison, visit Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, just south of 72. Like a great college football tradition, always there, Woody Anderson Ford.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
In 2 years, you can have a career that makes sense for you. Skill up and earn a living working with your hands, or work on the front line of computer information systems and cybersecurity. Get a degree that lets your healing heart take care of people. Help design and manufacture the most advanced cars, machinery, or even aerospace components. In just 2 years, great careers are within your reach at Drake State Community and Technical College. Visit drakestate.edu to apply.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well, not about paperwork or insurance companies or figuring out how to get to your lawyer's office. I'll come to you.
We worry about your case so you don't have to.
When you've been injured, we know that your case is probably the biggest thing going on in your life. More important than almost anything else.
And it's important to us too, for one simple reason. Family takes care of each other, and at the Lackey Law Firm, we'll take care of you.
The Lackey Law Firm. The Lackey Law Family. 1-800-4RIGHTS.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
In today's real estate market, you need the right professionals to help make sure your home purchase is smooth and hassle-free. That's where Jacob Title comes in. Stan McDonald and the staff at Jacob Title cater to the realtor and clients who are looking for a top-flight closing experience. Jacob Title uses the latest and best technologies to ensure a safe and secure exchange of funds, and they pride themselves on great communication well before and during the real estate closing process. Jacob Title in Huntsville and Madison, and online at jacobtitle.com.
He's bald, he's opinionated, and he's here.
You're morally reprehensible, vulgar, insensitive, selfish, stupid. You have no taste, a lousy sense of humor, and you smell.
Listen to Feinbaum, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Chuck Oliver. Listen to me coming up at noon today. Now, back to Talkin Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Indeed, welcome back to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you until 9 a.m. It is 7:26 on a Tuesday morning. Welcome back. 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. You can get in on the conversation this morning. The conversation in that first segment dealt on the Heisman Trophy finalist and the snub of Will Anderson. If you got thoughts on that, give us a call, 256-576-4977. But last night, Monday Night Football going on, New England traveling to Buffalo, and Mac Jones, folks, in the first half was dealing it. I mean, straight out on fire. Completed one pass.
1 for 1.
1 for 1 last night.
12 yards.
In fact, Mac Jones only completed 3 passes.
I thought it was 2 out of 3.
Or he attempted 3 passes.
2 out of 3 for 19
2.
yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they went 14-10.
But the good news is they rushed for 222 yards.
I mean, my goodness, Scott, you saw it. I mean, the wind, like the field goal that Buffalo missed. I mean, it just
the ball went straight up in the air and just woo.
I mean, and then just blew it wide. I mean,
40-mile-an-hour winds.
It looked like it was headed straight down the middle, and then it just blew it wide. I mean, you couldn't throw the ball very well at all. I mean, Buffalo tried, but they were losing the game. Okay, as soon as Damian Harris broke that long run,
yeah, he had 111 yards last night, highlighted by Damian Harris had 111 yards on the ground last night.
Yeah, he did. He had a 60-plus yard touchdown run early. Which kind of reminded me of his Texas A&M run in the College Station during his career at the Crimson Tide to lead off a game. But it was a toss play, and then he broke it for a big play touchdown. And basically, they went for 2 and got it. And they were ahead 8-0. And as soon as they got a lead, Scott, Bill Belichick, that was his plan. He was not going to throw the ball very much unless he had to if they were behind. And so they knew the weather conditions. Belichick has been in games like that. They talked about it when Matt Castle was their QB the year Tom Brady got hurt. He threw 8 passes in a game like that and completed 6 for 78 yards. So they knew that they didn't want to throw the ball very much. And unfortunately, Damian Harris got hurt, too. He didn't finish the game. He had a hamstring injury. But DeMondre Stevenson, the rookie from Oklahoma, did a nice job. Brandon Bolden, the former Ole Miss Rebel. So it was an old-school football game. They just ran the football, played defense, and they were able to hold Buffalo in the red zone and keep them out. And really, honestly, if it hadn't been for a botched punt where it went ricocheted off the helmet, where Buffalo got the ball in the red zone and threw a touchdown pass, I'm not sure the Bills would have scored a touchdown. So it was just some old-school strategy from Belichick.
Former NFL standout, former Decatur High standout Gerard Powers put on Twitter that that all NFL stadiums should have some kind of roof over it. He says because players do not like playing in conditions like that.
I'm sure.
It's miserable. It's tough. He put that out on Twitter last night because, those guys were not having fun. That cannot be fun playing in that.
I'll say this. What that did last night was worse than playing in a blizzard, and it was worse than playing in a monsoon. Okay?
Yeah.
Because the wind just limits you. You can't throw the ball.
Well, that wind hits your bones.
Oh.
That wind makes it cold and miserable.
I mean,
I can handle playing in the snow because the humidity is high usually, and, it's okay.
I couldn't keep from laughing at halftime. Susie Colbert, I guess it was, and Booger, they were like, well, we may just blow away. And you can just tell how miserable they were.
The wind has to be blowing hard for Booger to blow away.
I mean, but they're on the field. They got to be sitting down there on the field with this whipping around.
Oh, all right. Dennis is with us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Good morning, Dennis.
Good morning. I sort of hate to change the direction of the conversation.
No, go ahead.
I really wanted to kind of get back to Alabama, and I do want to point out too that in all of this crow that's been dished out the last couple of days, I've had my share of it. But it actually started last year when I famously said that Mac Jones would never take a snap as a legitimate quarterback at the University of Alabama in summer camp. Well, and now he may be the first one of these 3 great quarterbacks we've had to find their way to a playoff spot. I'm really happy for him.
Yeah,
they've won 7 in a row. Has New England? They're leading that division.
They're the number 1 seed in the AFC right now, I believe.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, right. And he was all of 2 for 3 last night in the game. So what great stats. But anyway, Drew, wanted to ask you a little bit from your analytics standpoint, what your thoughts are about A, the way we match up against Cincinnati, and B, what the difference becomes when we take a John Mitchie out and start plugging in the other possible wideout opportunities there.
Well, I mean, you can't replace experience, and Metch was a playmaker. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Dude had 96 catches, and to put that into context, The second highest, total on the squad is Jameson Williams, who to me should win the Biletnikoff Award, but he's only caught 68. But he's just averaging 21 yards a catch, and he's made tons of vertical big plays, as you saw and Georgia saw as they were watching his backside. But Metch is the guy that averaged 12 yards a catch over the middle. He moves the chains, and he didn't make a ton of big plays, but he made a lot of plays. And so you lose 96 catches out of your offense. And the one good thing for Alabama, there's a couple things. One, they had to play with him without him the whole second half. Pardon me.
Right. So you did get a little bit
so
of.
they were still able to move the ball and win the game. And then you get a whole month to get these guys reps and get them ready to play, and try to do some sort of voodoo mind trick and get 19 to realize he's a good player.
Jaleel Billingsley.
Okay, yeah. And so,
what's happened to him? I just don't even understand how he's fallen off the cliff this year.
Well, I just think it's been a lot of emotional immaturity, and so again, he is good enough to where he can be a difference maker. He and Latu. They need to be a bigger part of this. They should have been throughout the season and weren't. Now, they both did a nice job Saturday, but they're going to have to be a bigger part of it going forward. And one thing is, on film, there's not a ton of them the second half of the season, so you could use that to your advantage against Cincinnati. Cincinnati, they've got an outstanding dual threat quarterback. He can run and throw. He's a winner. He's won a ton of games. They got Jerome Ford, who Alabama obviously thought was good enough to play there before he transferred. He's an outstanding running back. They play good defense. This is a really good football team Alabama's playing. And so they've got to be ready. They've got to respect their opponent and got to understand that Cincinnati's going to be playing. Who cares what they did against Navy? Who cares what they did against Tulane? And then when they struggled during the regular season. But, it was hard for them to be up every week. But they are certainly going to be up for Alabama. This is what they've worked for, for all these group of 5 teams. And now they get their opportunity to knock off the best program in the country. So Coach Saban's already talked about how Alabama gets everybody's best shot. Well, they're certainly going to get Cincinnati's.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm hoping that Ja'Cory Brooks' Daniel Moore, Devontae Smith type moment with that catch against Auburn may at least propel his mindset to the point of, okay, I'm ready for this.
That's true. And Drew, what is this? Does Slade Bolden need to take a bigger step forward in the game plan? Will he be more involved?
I think there's a chance he will be, and certainly he's someone that Bryce trusts, and he made a big catch to continue the 5-6 minute drive that iced the SEC championship game. But yes, he's another one. Ja'Cory Brooks, Slade Bolden, Trayshawn Holden made a couple catches in the second half. Everybody, and I know I've already been asked about it. Do you expect any of the other young receivers Ajay Hall, Javon Baker to step in? Maybe, but I doubt it. Because it's just
I'm like you. Yeah.
I mean, because as soon as we realized Mechie was not coming back and he came out the locker room with a towel and no helmet, everybody's like, well, who's next? Well, it's Trayshawn Holden. I mean, that's who it is. I mean, because we already had seen, Ja'Cory Brooks step up when Jameson Williams went out, but it was going to be Ja'Cory Brooks and Trayshawn Holden. Those were going to be the next 2 guys. If you've been watching all year, guys that have been getting reps in games, those were the guys.
They produced.
Because Baker was getting some early and then had some issues. So now I'll be honest with you, Baker has a chance more so than Hall, okay? Because Ajay Hall, he's talented, but he's extremely immature. He was tweeting about being a bench warmer after the game because he just can't shut up and stay off social media.
After the SEC championship game.
Right.
Yeah, and his father is not helping that problem either.
Well, I don't know much about that. I mean, but again, I'm sure that's probably part of the situation, and people don't think about that if you've got a meddlesome parent, that can really affect your son's career as well. So I think overall, and it's a difficult situation, but I think Baker would have more of a chance to maybe step up and make some plays, and he's made more plays in scrimmages. Now, Ajay Hall had the one big A-Day game, and so that got everybody's attention because it was on television. But trust me, hearing about scrimmages since that time hasn't been a ton of Ajay Hall because he hasn't handled himself properly. So I still think he's talented, but I also think probably the minute Alabama's season's over, he's going to end up in the transfer portal. I mean, he could have already, but the thing here's the deal. What good does it do you? You might as well finish the drill and finish the season. And then I know we've had some of the Marcus Banks and the Pierce Quick and all that kind of stuff, enter the portal. But in most cases, if I'm a kid, I'm going to go ahead and because, again, you're not going to get anywhere. It's not like, if I get here, I can maybe get on the field. And no, you're done this season. So you might as well, finish it out.
Well, Drew, if I could, I'm sorry, if I could make one last comment before I close. But you had made a comment earlier in the year when you were talking about the offensive line, how Chris Owens reminded you a lot of Alfred McCullough, a real good plug-and-play kind of player, but not necessarily a permanent fixture at any one spot.
Right.
But really, in the Auburn game, and I'm not talking down about Dalvin Dalcourt because I think he's a fine center, but I think ever since Seth came in at the center spot and Chris got over to the tackle spot again, that move of putting Seth in there, to me, seems like it just added a different level to what they were doing completely. I don't know if maybe it's the way that he's seeing the field or whatever, but his quickness is good. I know he's not real big, but his quickness looked really good. I was just really impressed with his play the last 6 quarters.
I mean, everybody has been. I agree. It's going to be interesting to see what they do in the preparation because Dalcourt will have a chance to get healthy, but, it's one of those things where when you think about some of the young outside linebackers and how they've played even since Chris Allen got hurt, because you've seen guys come in there and produce, and so and I've been asked this a bunch: is Chris Allen going to come back for the playoffs? I do think that's potentially that he could, but Dallas Turner's played really well, got 5.5 sacks. You saw a lot of Drew Sanders the other day, so they have a lot of options. So it's going to be interesting to see. And basically they were rotating. It looked like Turner and Sanders on Saturday. But on the offensive line, it's hard to do that. You need continuity with the 5 guys. So that's going to be I'll just say a really interesting competition with Seth McLaughlin and Darian Dalcourt in the 3.5 weeks until they get a chance to play against Desmond Ridder in Cincinnati.
Very good. Well, listen, guys, thanks a lot. Keep it up.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks, Dennis. All right, 256-576-4977. If you want to get in on the show this morning. And what is really cool about college football these days is that when these players play, they wear a monitoring device in their pads. It's like a GPS system in their pads. They wear it during game day so that these sports scientists, staff members on all these staff, they can keep track of everything. And they've compiled the top speeds from championship weekend. And Jameson Williams topped out at 22.4 miles per hour on that touchdown run.
On the 67
yard. That he had against Georgia. That was tops among all college football players this weekend. 22.4 miles per hour. Jameson Williams let go. Now, it's interesting, and Alabama's going to have to face this guy in the college football semifinals. They're familiar with him. Jerome Ford from Cincinnati was the 3rd fastest player this weekend in college football. 20.6 miles per hour was his top speed this weekend once he got free against Houston for his touchdown run.
I mean, I'm going to say something that Georgia fans are probably going to look at me like I got 3 heads. He's better than the 2 tailbacks that Georgia's got. And I love Cook, okay? I've already campaigned for a 3rd-round draft pick for the Miami Dolphins for James Cook, all right?
Okay, all right.
That's on the record. But Zeus White, he's just a dude, okay? He was supposed to be the truth. He's not.
Just a dude.
Yeah, he's just a guy. And so Jerome Ford with that Georgia football team would be lethal, and he would be playing a lot for Alabama right now. Let's not misunderstand, okay?
Right.
So he'd be rotating with B-Rob, but he decided to leave and he wanted to play, and he made the right decision. And Luke Fickell has done a great job with him, and Alabama is going to have to stop the run first and foremost. They've done it. They've done a good job of it all year, but they're going to have to do a good job of it against Cincinnati and respect their opponent, or they could be in some real trouble because Cincinnati it can run the football, and Ritter is a dual-threat quarterback who's got a lot of experience. And so this Cincinnati team is a good football team. They deserve to be where they are. I understand they didn't have as strenuous a route to get there because of the league they played in. But again, this is similar to a Boise State type situation back when Chris Peterson was there.
Okay.
You have to understand how well coached these guys are and how good. And they're about to be a Power 5 program. They're moving to the Big 12. And so
look, I know Georgia was down last year. Georgia didn't have a lot of guys. They didn't have a lot of guys.
Well with Georgia.
They did in the Peach Bowl. It was a similar situation. Auburn, UCF that year, but Georgia said they wanted it a little bit more. They were missing some guys, but Cincinnati went in there and beat them. I mean, physically beat a Georgia team. So this is not going to be a walk in the park. Let's get a break in, though. When we come back, we got to wrap up hour one of Talking Ball. More college football conversation. And guess what? Dan Mullen was a disaster for the Florida Gators. Could they have another disaster brewing in Gainesville? We'll explain.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Good morning. Only one wreck showing on the board. That's 31 southbound at Sandifer Road. Should be about ready to clear on it. Had a wreck at the 297 in Coleman County, south of Coleman. That's at Dodge City. They had southbound closed completely. I haven't heard an update on that one. You get 3 pieces of the crispy tender chicken and a buttermilk biscuit for $4.99 at Popeyes. University and George, 72 and Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Mercury Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, Mercury Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
Valley Equipment Rental. Pretty self-explanatory name, no? Tom Abraham here. And look, Valley Equipment Rental is all over the Tennessee Valley. And they rent equipment. All kinds of equipment. And not just to the contractors out there, but to you, the general public as well. Need a skid steer or an excavator? Well, they've got over 40 units to make sure they've got one for you. From huge boom lifts to miscellaneous hand tools, it's at Valley Equipment Rental on the South Parkway. And soon, they'll have a second location to handle even more equipment. More on that to come.
The People's Choice Awards, hosted by Keenan Thompson, is the only award show chosen by you, the people. So let Keenan hear you.
With nominees in every category.
TV,
movies,
music, pop culture,
and performances from your favorite artists.
Christina Aguilera,
Blake Shelton.
Some cool surprises.
Plus huge icon award winners.
Halle Berry,
Dwayne Johnson,
Kim
Kardashian West,
and more.
Hosted by me, Keenan Thompson. The People's Choice Awards, live tonight on NBC and E. And the red carpet starts first, live from E.
At Bryant Bank, we believe your goals are worth chasing, and every step along the way is worth celebrating. From your hopes for the future to the challenges that keep you up at night, we're here for you. Bryant Bankers put care into action to help you live legendary by stepping up when you need us most and doing what's right, even when no one is watching. Come experience a local bank whose people greet you by name and treat you like family. Bryant Bank, member FDIC.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey Wes, our company Fleming Roofing and Restoration specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a 5th generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey Wes, we show up.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com. If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Hey, this is Justin with the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. We'd like to invite you to North Alabama's premier patio bar and grill, where at the factory, we have something going on each and every night. Monday night, steak night. Tuesday night, karaoke. Wednesday night, the Jeep community comes out for Jeep Jam. Thursday, it's bike night, the biggest in the valley. Friday and Saturday, live concerts on our 4,000 square foot patio, along with drink specials and a beautiful staff. What are you waiting on? We will see you at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
And welcome back to Talkin Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, 7:48 on this Tuesday morning. Dan Mullen had problems getting wins this year. Didn't like to recruit. He gone. The Florida Gator basketball team started the year impressive. 6-0. Not bad. Moved inside the top 25. But then yesterday, they dropped one. They dropped their first one the other day. And last night, winless Texas Southern out of the SWAC. The SWAC Conference, who has already lost to Oregon, St. Mary's, Washington, Air Force, North Carolina State, BYU, Louisiana Tech, playing all those money games under head coach Johnny Jones. Yep, the same one that was at LSU forever. Playing all those money games, goes into Gainesville, Florida needing a win. They needed a win to get the ailment that was what was ailing them, and it didn't happen. A SWAC school bounces SEC and top 25 ranked Florida last night in Gainesville.
Yeah, I had to check and make sure it was real because I wasn't sure that I believed it. But I was happy because it is a black eye for the SEC, even though they had 7 teams ranked now in the top 25, and they were doing really well in the net rankings. This definitely is a black eye. But going back and seeing it, though, the reason I was happy is I had them on the show last year when they went to the NCAA tournament. They won the SWAC tournament and had a really good year under Johnny Jones, and he's come back as a super senior, Scott.
Yes.
And, of course, I'm talking about multi-time state champion, I believe 3 times, during his time for Jack Doss at May Jemison High School, and I'm talking about Justin J. Hop Hopkins. He is still with Texas Southern.
He's a grad student this year.
Now I understand he did spend a year at Samford before he transferred over to Texas Southern. He's been there ever since, and he had 8 points in the game, played very well with his team. They had a balanced scoring attack. I think they had 4 in double figures, and Texas Southern with a monumental upset, in the O-Dome.
69-54,
yeah,
the
not
final.
close. This is a 15-point win. This was the first win of the year for Texas Southern. They were 0-7 up to this point, but Johnny Jones gets a huge win, and Justin J. Hop Hopkins plays exceptional basketball in helping his team get I would say Johnny's biggest win at Texas Southern. I know they went to the NCAA tournament last year, but anytime you beat a ranked SEC team on the road, that's huge for the SWAC and huge for Texas Southern basketball.
Just how big of a win was it for the SWAC conference? It was the first time that a SWAC conference team beat a ranked SEC program in the Associated Press poll going all the way back to 1936. That's how big of a win it was last night for Texas Southern. Ranked SEC teams had been 51-0 against SWAC teams going into last night.
And no disrespect to the SWAC, but that's why I had to double check it and say, is this real? Because somebody sent me the score, and I was like, do what? And so, and then you go back and you look it up on ESPN, Score Center, and you're like, absolutely,
it's true.
It's absolutely true. So, hey, I will say this, Mike White, I've always liked the guy, but that's disturbing. And all we know, and we'll tell you quickly. Remember how quickly the worm turned on Dan Mullen?
Yep.
They almost beat Alabama. Everybody's all fired up thinking, well, we can play with Georgia. We may win. No.
This loss here has got people already questioning Scott Strickland or the AD down there at Florida.
Scott Strickland.
Yeah. Why? It's about time. Let's go. Haven't you seen enough? Because Mike White, though, has not been –
Billy Donovan.
Right. And it's been large shoes to fill.
Yeah.
But it's been an up-and-down ride for him at Florida the last year and a half, last 2 years.
Yeah, there's been inconsistent play.
Yes.
He's been getting them to the NCAA tournament. But, a few years ago when South Carolina went to the Final Four in a galaxy far, far away because now Frank the Tank is on borrowed time. Remember, in the Elite Eight, it was Florida and South Carolina. And
right.
South Carolina beat them to go to the Final Four. So, and since that time, Mike White hasn't made a ton of deep runs in the tournament. So just making the tournament for Florida isn't good enough. So I would agree. He could go to the hot seat quickly and end up back in a mid-major program because he was hired from Louisiana Tech.
All right, the other big story, really, that when we touched on this yesterday, and we had some callers react to it as well. That was the situation going on in Miami. It all played out like a lot of people expected to. Mario Cristobal ended up taking the Miami job, leaving Oregon, thus Manny Diaz being let go from Miami. In a statement from Manny Diaz, his very first sentence in his statement says, "I am disappointed in the university's decision and the manner in which this played out over the last few weeks. The uncertainty impacted our team, our staff, and their families. These are real people that gave everything to this program. For them, I hurt." That was Manny Diaz's statement. He's right, and he rightfully should have put that out there as well. Miami courting another coach. While they had a coach, it became public.
And no athletic director.
Yeah, with no athletic director. They got the guy ultimately that they think can turn around the program. Another Miami Hurricane former player
and coach.
They thought Manny Diaz was the right guy. They thought Mark Richt was the right guy.
Ain't none of them making $8 million like Grissom.
They're pouring some money into Mario Cristobal and his staff and that program.
And I would imagine Dan Radakovich as AD at Miami, who will leave Clemson. So I think they're going to get their two guys. Now they have to go out and win games, and they have to upgrade their facilities. It's going to be really interesting because Mario Cristobal definitely is a relentless recruiter. He was a relentless one at Oregon.
Yeah.
But he was too good an offer not to come home. So we'll see. I mean, certainly there's a lot of talent in the Sunshine State of Florida. He will definitely try to put a fence up around South Florida again to get Miami good quickly. And in the ACC, we told you how bad it is. Pitt and Wake Forest in the ACC championship game with Clemson backsliding. And now Clemson, there's uncertainty because Dabo Swinney has lost in the last few years Jeff Scott.
Yep.
And now he's lost Brent Venables. And now Tony Elliott, I think he interviewed with Duke yesterday. So
he also lost
assistant coaches.
High-profile recruit yesterday, did Dabo Swinney, because Brent Venables left to go to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
The recruit literally coming out and saying, had Brent Venables stayed, I would have stayed at Clemson, but he is leaving, so I am now no longer committing to Clemson. I would have signed in the early signing period, but that's not going to happen. So Clemson and Dabo Swinney going through what Alabama and Nick Saban have gone through every year, and that is losing assistants. Let's get Shane Sean real fast. Good morning, Shane Sean.
What's up?
Hey, good morning. This whole Miami thing don't make much sense to me, man. Why would they pay? I mean, don't get me wrong, Mario Cristobal has a big name, but what has he done except for? I mean, honestly, what has he accomplished other than winning 10 games in a year?
Well, he has won a couple of Pac-12 titles, and he did build FIU's program from scratch. And let's be honest, he's got Nick Saban on his resume, so that helps any coach in this
but how many
time.
times is that other than Kirby and Jumbo? How many times has that really worked out?
I think
Lane Kiffin.
I think it too is
Okay,
because Mario Cristobal, though, I think it's because the way he recruited at Oregon. While he was getting Oregon going, it's the way that he recruited. If you can get 5-star talent to Oregon, Oregon,
but if you can't produce that talent, I mean, if you're really not producing it, what have you done? I don't care about Pac-12 titles. So that's a joke.
Well, he is a Miami guy to the core. I think that was the thing, that him having success on the West Coast, and then looking back at, he should have never been fired at FIU, and then what he did at Alabama. It's the perfect storm. And Miami being desperate, they give him a huge contract, and so Mario's still growing as a coach. So there's some in-game situations he doesn't handle well, but he can recruit, and that's what Miami needs badly right now.
All right, Shane Sean, thanks for the phone call. That's hour one in the books. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, the big reveal is next.
Via phone.
The Huntsville City Classic. We're going to reveal the brackets next. Stay tuned. You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Good morning. Only one wreck showing on the board. That's 31 southbound at Sandifer Road. Should be about ready to clear on it. Had a wreck at the 297 in Coleman County, south of Coleman. That's at Dodge City. They had southbound closed completely. I haven't heard an update on that one. You get 3 pieces of the crispy tender chicken and a buttermilk biscuit for $4.99 at Popeyes. University and George, 72 and Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon. It is going to be on the chillier end of the spectrum. Temperatures hanging out in the upper 40s and lower 50s. An increase in cloud cover as we head into the overnight. A couple of different models are trying to bring a couple of light rain showers into the Tennessee Valley as we head into the early part of Wednesday morning. Right now, it does look like the vast majority of us would probably end up staying dry. Now, partly sunny sky once again for your Wednesday afternoon. Temperatures are going to begin to climb just a little bit, hanging out in the mid-50s, dropping into the upper 30s, lower 40s through the overnight. Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
Auburn will face Houston in the Birmingham Bowl December 28th. This week, the Tigers open as a 3-point favorite. Alabama and Cincinnati in the college football playoff. The Crimson Tide a 13.5-point favorite. Only 3 games tonight in the NBA. The Brooklyn Nets a 2.5-point road favorite at the Dallas Mavericks. The Spurs getting 2.5 at home against the Knicks. And the Lakers and Celtics will meet at the Staples Center, LA, a 2.5-point home favorite. This Saturday in New Jersey, it's the 122nd edition of the Army-Navy game. The Black Knights have won 4 out of the last 5. 5 after Navy had won 14 in a row. Army is 7.5-point favorite on a neutral field. The over-under 34.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And welcome back to Hour 2 of Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. If you have been around this area long enough, you know when it comes to high school basketball, right after you enjoy your Christmas holiday with your family, you wake up a couple days later with anticipation of hoops dreams in your head. Because back in the day, it was the Huntsville Times Classic, and at the old Huntsville High, and I say old Huntsville High because now it is new Huntsville High, the gymnasium was not very big, but man, oh man, you could pack and would pack that place to the rafters. You would have to get there, I don't know, 2 hours, 3 hours before the championship game would tip off just to get into the building. Police officers, security personnel, it would be standing room only. You would not be able to get into the building unless somebody walked out. I mean, this is the premier holiday tournament in the state of Alabama because of great work by you and everybody who's done with this tournament. Drew, we got to find out who's playing who now.
Yeah, I mean, we a while back we did announce the field, Scott, and it's going to be an outstanding one. A lot of local in-state flavor, absolutely, and really that's going to be the entirety of the field. It's all going to be from the state of Alabama, but it's going to stretch from one side of the state to the other, and it's going to include our local teams, but it's also going to include many of the top-ranked teams throughout the state of Alabama, many familiar teams from the Final Four from a year ago. It's going to be a star-studded field, and our next guest is, of course, the Huntsville City Athletics Coordinator, a huge part of the Huntsville City Classic in putting together this field, and he's been good enough to join us, going to be via phone this morning as he has a tremendously busy and crazy schedule. But we've been looking forward to this like a kid on Christmas morning. This is an early Christmas present for us at 97.7 The Zone, and that is Scott Stapler with us this morning. Coach, good morning. You're with Drew and Scott.
Hey, good morning, guys. Drew and Scott, how are y'all? Man, I appreciate you having me on this morning. I just can't be more excited than to get this thing restarted after having to miss last season because of COVID. So the 39th annual Huntsville City Classic. Can't wait to get going.
Really can. I mean, and Coach, I know you went through a lot of the thought and in processing, trying to put together as good a bracket as you can. And again, as we said a few weeks ago, you did publicly let out the teams that will be in the field. Now, that was not the bracket, and we made sure to point that out. That was just the teams that are coming to the Rocket City. But many good squads coming in here, some new faces that we haven't seen, but very talented.
We do, and I just think since I've had a chance to kind of have a big hand in the tournament now, when I took this position with the school district, I kind of like to wait, a little bit and just kind of see how teams are playing. Some people want to get their tournament fields announced, 6 months ahead of time, but, things change and teams get better. And so I feel like that we got a great field to start out with, but I feel like that our bracket's going to be good, and just think that it'll be a very competitive tournament and be one that people will be excited to watch.
All right, Coach. Well, let's get right down to it.
Drum roll, please.
Who gets that early wake-up call right out of the gates for the Huntsville City
Coach.
Classic?
9 a.m. So we'll start off the tournament 9 a.m. with Sparkman against Columbia. Two local teams and kind of two contrasting teams. Sparkman is led by Kalen Lightford, and the transfer over there, Price kid, who's been playing really well, and then Columbia is building under new coach Justin Johnson, who's doing a fantastic job with those guys. We got the youth movement going against kind of the senior-laden, experienced team. Both teams full of really good athletes, and should be a great game to start the tournament out.
Yeah, it really should. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, we kind of I know we talked a year or two ago when we talked about this tournament about how we just don't just go right down the bracket, as the bracket will be listed, kind of like the NCAA does it, I guess. We sort of try to put them in pods and try to figure out, game times and things like that are going to be, the best for the teams that are traveling in, as well as to keep a good flow of games, throughout the tournament. So we open up with those guys there, and then I'm just going to go down the bracket. And the second game in that bracket, which would be Game 3, Buckhorn against Oxford. Again, Buckhorn, I don't know how many people have seen them play, but we got a lot of new things going on there. Coach Harding coming over from Albertville, very good coach. He's got led by two good young players, Caleb Holt, Jeremiah. Those guys have done really well, and then they've got some good upperclassmen playing a little bit different style than they have in the past, and they take on one of my favorite teams in the tournament that every year, Oxford High School with Coach Joel Van Meter. Just a great program right now. That should be a really good game.
It really should, Coach. I mean, Coach Van Meter, of course, worked at Jacksonville State at one time, has college experience. He's had some really good teams, probably teams that were talented enough to win a state championship, but has had to go through some really tough sub-region and then regional play in order to get to the Final 48.
He has, that region in 6A that they come out of every year, especially the past 3 or 4 years, has been really tough. And I thought 2 years ago, I guess, one of the best games I've seen in the tournament in a long time was that semifinal game, I believe, where it was Oxford against Jameson. It was a heck of a game.
Tremendous.
Really high-level athletes and extremely well-coached game. So that's what those guys bring to the tournament, and we are glad to have them every year.
Mm-hmm.
So again, going down the third game in the bracket there is Huntsville High against Spanish Fort, and that'll be played at 3:00. Spanish Fort is a returning Final Four team, coached by a good friend of mine, Jimbo Tauber, who's a former Cliff Ellis assistant at Auburn and at Coastal Carolina, doing a great job down there at Spanish Fort. I believe this is his 3rd or 4th year there, and he's got a player, Colby McAllister. He's a Citadel signee. They're really well coached and very, very talented. And then Huntsville High with Coach Schweers has got just developed a really good program there. Again, we've got led by the senior guard Messiah Morris, and then Jamari Arnold Jr. and then Caleb Harrison, the post player inside, young guy. They played a really good schedule, and so I think they'll be battle tested, and that should be a fun game to watch. To see Spanish Fort come up here, like I said, for the first time.
And, Coach, we know this will be the upper bracket, but what game will this be overall as far as the time?
It's 3 p.m.
3 p.m. game?
It's 3 p.m. game.
Yeah, 3 p.m.
All right, Coach. Yep. Your floor is still yours. You keep unveiling.
Yeah, go ahead, Coach.
Okay. So, again, and to finish out the top part of the upper bracket will be Hazel Green against Jacksonville, and that'll be played at 6:00. I haven't seen Jacksonville yet, Drew. Scott, you guys may have seen them play. I've just heard a lot of good things about them. They've got a really good player, Cade Phillips, that's moved into there, and I think they should have a chance to have a really good season as it plays out this year. They're having from looking at their schedule, they've played up a class or two just about in all their games. So I think they will be ready certainly when the playoffs come. But again, this is the first time they've been in our tournament. I think they'll be really good. And then Coach Crutcher at Hazel Green does a great job. I always say about them is his team takes on his personality. They're tough, they're aggressive, they're physical. They're led by the Scruggs kid inside. He's a strong, tough kid, and so that'll be the fourth game in that top bracket, and they'll be played at 6 o'clock. Hazel Green against Jacksonville.
6 o'clock, Hazel Green, Jacksonville. Great matchup there. And now we're going to go to the bottom part of the bracket, Coach, for our reveal.
Bottom part of the bracket starts with Lee against Madison Academy. Lee, I think maybe has surprised a few people. Obviously they're the defending state champions and probably been the best program up here for the last decade. I think people may have slept on them a little bit because they lost all those great players, but those two senior guards are really kind of leading that team, Jakari Lane and Dexter Smith. I had a chance to see them play a few weeks back, and I really thought they're playing well. Of course, Coach Brown is a terrific coach. And they'll be taking on Madison Academy. Andy Blackston, led by his son, Trevecca Sinee, Drew Blackston, one of the most well-coached teams in the state of Alabama. Glad to have these guys back in the tournament.
That'll be a good matchup. And what game will that be, Coach? What time will they play?
That's a 10:30 tip-off.
That's game
so
2 of the day.
Game 2. Game
right.
2 of the day, they'll be following Spartan Columbia. In the second game in that bottom bracket, one that I'm really excited about is James Clemens taking on Enterprise, and that'll be played at 1:30. It should be a great game. Enterprise, again, Final Four team coming up from South Alabama. I believe at this point they're still undefeated. I think they're 6 or 7-0. I talked to Coach Harrelson a couple weeks ago, and they had some kids coming out of football, so they haven't played quite as many games, but I had a chance to see them play last year, probably like you guys did, Drew and Scott.
State finalists.
They were really well coached. Yeah. Elijah Terry, a really good player in their program, and then, of course, with James Clemens, Coach Frankie Sullivan, former Auburn standout. Those guys, they're aggressive and just nonstop pressing and trapping. You got the Frazier kid who started off with a good season, but they're big. They're a big team and they're athletic. That should be I think they're all going to be a good game. I say that about every matchup, but I think that could be a really good matchup.
Yeah, it could, Coach. And I'll tell you this, I saw
that's a 1:30 game.
Right, I saw Enterprise this summer in Tuscaloosa and in Auburn. Pardon me, in Auburn, and they were very, very good. Enterprise, very good team over at team camp in Auburn, and they've got a lot of pieces back from that squad that made the 7A finals before losing to Oak Mountain. So they knocked out a really good Spain Park team, as you know, Coach, at the buzzer, that beat Huntsville High in the Elite Eight.
Yeah, I would think, just looking at the landscape of 7A, I think they would be one of the favorites again to make a run, especially coming out of the South. So we're really excited to get those guys up here for the Classic this season. And that'll be played at 1:30.
That's right.
The next game in that bracket, it'll start off the bottom, pot of that bracket, is Grissom against Bob Jones. That'll be played at 4:30. Two veteran coaches that have been doing it for a long time and been doing it really good for a long time. Luther Tiggs at Bob Jones, and of course Jack Doss at Grissom. Had a chance to see Bob Jones just on the NFHS network, and I've had a chance to see Grissom in person a couple times. And I think Grissom, to me, has got to be one of the favorites to make a run and win the title in 7A. Very good, led by Ephraim Johnson, and then they've got those young guys, juniors behind them, RJ and Izzy Miles. They're a very good team, and I think that'll be a fun matchup. Bob Jones is that stifling zone that they play, so that should be a fun game to see. And that's a 4:30 tip-off, Grissom against Bob Jones.
No question about that. It's, of course, Jack Doss, won this tournament more than any coach, going for his 11th state championship in his unbelievable career. Luther Tiggs rebuilt programs at Sparkman, James Clemens, Bob Jones, also coached at Buckhorn, been a fixture in our community, the former Russellville standout and UNA Lion. Should be an outstanding game. And now what about the final matchup for us, Coach?
In the final matchup, and after we talk about this, I'll just kind of go down to what the actual times will be, so
right.
it won't be so confusing. May Jameson against Anniston. Getting excited about this matchup. Coach Jeremy Bynum, as first year at Jameson, is a really good coach. We're glad to have him in Huntsville City Schools, and he's done a great job with that team. They played a good schedule starting off the season, and they're fun to watch. They play together very well, and they really compete. And then Anniston will be back. This is the second year in a row. Obviously, we missed last year, but Coach Brown, Toriana Brown, bringing his team up with Antonio Kite from Anniston. Again, I think they'll have a chance to be a contender for that 4A title. They're kind of in that, like we talked about earlier, with Oxford, that Northeast Regional that Anniston will have to come through. I believe it also would feature Jacksonville and possibly Westminster.
Yeah,
that's three of the top, probably 3 or 4 teams in 4A. And so Anniston, I talked after they came 2 years ago. Their coach on the way out said, "Hey, we'll come back anytime we can come. I've never seen a tournament like this. It's organized and has the fans that come." And so he said, my kids and my supporter, we loved it. So we're glad to have those guys back.
Yeah, Antonio Kite, Coach. He's a guy that's played the last 2 years of football. Outstanding defensive back. He's going to sign early with the University of Alabama. But he's also an outstanding basketball player. They are the defending 4A state champions. May Jameson has been a surprise pleasantly under Coach Jeremy Bynum. They have a senior-laden group led by 6 seniors and nearly won the Huntsville or the Into Hoops tournament that was hosted by Bob Jones. They lost in overtime, I believe, in the championship game to Sparkman. So May Jameson, a very good team as well. There's going to be a lot of athletes on the floor. And will that be our final game of the day?
Right, that's the final game. So I'll run down the bracket time-wise. So we start the day out, again, Sparkman against Columbia, 9 o'clock. Again, should be a good matchup. So we were kind of going through this bracket. We tried to put teams in pods and try to, get the top 4 seeds split up amongst the whole tournament bracket. 10:30 will be Lee Madison Academy. Noon, we'll have Buckhorn, Oxford. 1:30, James Clemens against Enterprise. 3 o'clock, Huntsville, Spanish Fort. 4:30, Grissom, Bob Jones. 6 o'clock, Hazel Green, Jacksonville. And then 7:30, Jameson against Anniston.
And again, with Jacksonville, Coach, remember the name John Broom as well. He's an outstanding player. He's another Division I prospect off of that roster. Really excited to see him. I know he's been on a visit with Cade Phillips to Alabama. He's 6'4", 6'5". I think he had a 40-point game early in the season. So I'm anxious to see Cade Phillips, Jacksonville High School, and Spanish Fort as well. You already mentioned them. They were a state finalist last year. A lot of teams coming from different areas of the state of Alabama that we're excited to have.
No doubt. Like I said, the tournament attracts good teams, and so we want to try to always do a good job of trying to get the best ones out of Alabama first, and then if we have to go outside the state, mix it in. But this year was easy because we got some really good teams in the state, and then I think we said this every year, but the trickiest thing about setting up the bracket for this tournament is that trying to split up obviously teams that don't play each other. That's a major factor. Secondly, trying to get teams that may be in the same area to where they don't play each other, at least in the first round. And then thirdly, just trying to split up the top 4 teams to where you can get the brackets evened out a little bit. That's a tough thing, but it's also fun. trying to look at these matchups. And the thing about this year, and really every year, I feel like that I've been involved with it, there's not going to be any bad games. And so if a team comes out and doesn't play well the first game, the next two they're going to get are going to be good opponents. So the biggest thing to me is just, having an opportunity for the schools that are coming to get at least 3 games in against good teams to help them prepare. When they come back after Christmas, you got really about a month to kind of get to be playing as good as you can play to go in that area tournament. And then secondly, to have a tournament that's attractive to fans like we have here in Huntsville. They just love good basketball. Doesn't matter who's playing, they just love to watch good basketball.
Yeah, they do, and you've done an outstanding job with this tournament, and pointing out this year that is the new wrinkle with the Classic, every team getting 3 games. So day 3 will be a little bit longer than usual, but everyone will be guaranteed 3 games coming to this event. And, Coach, as we wrap it up, how is our tickets going to be handled this year?
So tickets will be we're going to pay at the gate, be cash at the gate, $10. And the reason we're doing that is to be able to make sure we can have an accurate count, of how many people are in the gym. Some GoFan is been very positive, but sometimes with games going on in both gyms, and we anticipate having big crowds, we'll be able to just control that better. And so, like I said, I hope it'll be something that we have, packed houses every session, like we've done before. The first day will just be one session. We go straight through all games in the main gym. And then in day 2, we start games in both gyms going all day long. Session 1 will be that morning session. Then we come back for the night session with the semifinals will be session 3. And then coming out in the third day, like you said, we're adding those, what I'm calling showcase games for people to get a third game. And when the AHSA changed the format of scheduling and they allowed everybody just to play 30 games, it was we had schools that were wanting to come, but they wanted to make sure they could get 3 games instead of 2. So that was easy to do. We just added some games in the morning of day 3. So you may not necessarily play out as you would see a loser's bracket play out, where we will kind of look at that, and as teams move over to that side, just try to find matchups where the coaches may have not played each other, or maybe they're looking to play a game against somebody different, and we'll set it up like that.
No doubt. Well, Coach, we appreciate the time and you revealing the bracket with us on Talkin Ball. We're honored to be the home of the Huntsville City Classic. We look forward to putting those games on our airwaves. And Scott and I love local athletics and high school basketball. And thank you for coming on this morning and revealing this bracket for everyone and all of our listeners who so look forward to this event. We didn't have it last year, but this is going to be the 39th Huntsville City Classic, and it's so great to have it back.
Hey, thanks again for having me on, and again, your support of high school athletics. You guys do a fantastic job. We appreciate, again, you guys broadcasting the games for us upcoming this year. And we'll have, I'll send the bracket over to you. You can put it on the website just so people can find it there. We'll have several places on our Twitter feed and things like that, too. But it'll be here soon. So can't wait to get back and get this thing restarted.
Yeah.
Hope you guys have a great day.
Thanks, Scott. Great times ahead. December 27th, 28th, and 29th over at Huntsville High School. It is the 39th edition of the Huntsville City Classic. Again, fun begins at 9 a.m. The last game will tip off at 7:30 on the 27th of December. Make sure you stay with 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We're going to be your home for the tournament this year. We'll have every game on the 27th for you. Make sure you download the 97.7 ESPN The Zone app because a lot of games will be on Zone 2 this year. So make sure you have the app so you can listen to the Huntsville City Classic here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We need to get a break because we talked Manny Diaz, we talked the Miami Hurricanes, we talked about everything. Well, why Mario Cristobal? Why get him out of Oregon? Andrew Ivins will answer the question next.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
They may have traffic on 72 eastbound stopped completely at Doug Hill. They had it down to one lane there, trying to get that one cleared away. Had a wreck at 31 in Sandifer Road on the southbound side. It should be about ready to clear up. Still no update on the wreck on I-65, 297 south side of Coleman. They had the interstate blocked completely at last report. Snelling has entry-level positions for production operators and client services reps, starting at $13 an hour. Huntsville.snelling.com. Captain Eck in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Take your taste buds back in time with a trip to the all-new Bubbies Diner, offering a variety of mouth-watering food, from delicious starters to 50-style diner food and meat and 3 meals, featuring owner and Huntsville native Chris Bubby Belcher's family's homemade recipes. Open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 8412 Whitesburg Drive in the former Gibson's Barbecue. And you can enjoy $50 worth of delicious Bubbies Diner food for half price with this week's Zone Deal. On sale now online at 977ESPN.com.
Carrier Rosenblum here with Rosenblum Realty, and we appreciate our MA family. Football season is back again, and we're here for your real estate needs. We've been also doing rental properties for many years. You may have a home that you need to lease out. You don't need the headaches. You need somebody to take care of it, make sure the repairs are done, keep the rent coming in, and screen the tenants. We can do all that for you at Rosenblum Realty, where we do property management services, or you can find a good home to rent as well. Call us at 256-539-9501. Put our years of experience to work for you.
Hey friends, Eli Gold here for Environmental Comfort Systems. If you're concerned about the air quality inside your home, give my friend Rick Smith a call at Environmental Comfort Systems. Their indoor air quality systems remove 99.9% of indoor air contaminants. Give the trusted professionals at Environmental Comfort Systems a call, or visit them online at envcomfort.com and see how comfortable you can be. Breathe cleaner air today. Environmental Comfort Systems, Alabama license number 92314.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
The People's Choice Awards, hosted by Keenan Thompson, is the only award show chosen by you, the people. So let Keenan hear you.
With nominees in every category.
TV,
movies,
music, pop culture,
and performances from your favorite artists.
Christina Aguilera,
Blake Shelton,
some cool surprises,
plus huge icon award winners.
Halle Berry,
Dwayne Johnson, Kim Kardashian West,
and more.
Hosted by me, Keenan Thompson. The People's Choice Awards, live tonight on NBC and E! And the red carpet starts first, live from E!
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
Have you ever found exactly the right new car or truck with the exact features that you want and nothing else? Well, at Woody Anderson Ford, we can promise you just that. Hey, Bobby White back again, and you can now factory order your new Ford today, and you'll get your new car or truck exactly the way you want it. And there's no extra cost to custom order. Plus, you get $1,000 off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates. This applies to 2021 F-150, Explorer, Ranger, and Expedition. It's a win-win with a custom order at Woody Anderson Ford. You get the colors, the features, and the options that fit your life. Plus, you get notified when it's built, shipped, and ready to deliver. Listen, buying a new car or truck is likely the second largest investment you'll ever make. So why settle? Get exactly what you want with a custom factory order today. And get $1,000 off MSRP. See how at WoodyAndersonFord.com or at the corner of Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive. Hope to see you soon.
While other stations keep changing their lineup,
Yeah!
We keep plugging away.
Did you lose your mind all of a sudden, or was it a slow, gradual process?
Thank you for making us your number one choice for sports talk in North Alabama. We are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now more of Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on your home for Crimson Tide Sports 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Roll Tide.
32 on a Tuesday morning. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We touched on it to close out our number one, and that was everything that has been playing out over the last 48 hours down in Coral Gables, Florida. That would be Mario Cristobal accepting the Miami offer. Manny Diaz then out as head coach. So they hopefully have the right Miami guy, because they have tried this before and before and before and before to get the right Miami guy in there to turn this program around.
Well, they have. It's been hard. Since the great run, of Butch Davis and then Larry Coker, to find the right football coach and the right fit for the University of Miami. But I think when Mario Cristobal, first years ago when he started the program at FIU, and then he nearly returned to the Hurricanes coaching staff, but then went to work for Nick Saban. Ever since we've seen Coach Cristobal do what he's done at Oregon, in which he followed Willie Taggart there and then replaced him and then started winning the Pac-12. I think everybody kind of looked at the Miami situation to see if they could ever put the package together to get him back home, because it's such a natural fit. And now it's happened, and our next guest knows this area, the South Florida, inside and out from a recruiting standpoint. He knows Mario Cristobal. He knows a lot of the powers that be at Miami, and is as well connected with that program as anyone we featured, and that's Andrew Ivins, and he's been good enough to join us from 24/7 Sports on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline this morning. Andrew, I know it's been a busy weekend and last couple of days. Mario Cristobal now going to be introduced as the Miami head football coach. Welcome back to the show. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Just trying to bank as many sleep hours as I can.
I know it's probably been difficult because chasing this story an unusual way. Now, we've already talked about how we felt bad for Manny Diaz and really a lot of the administration over at Miami, the way this was handled, dismissing the athletic director, then doing this search. Really, it was controlled by boosters. Not the most ideal way to do it, but the end game looks like it could be a home run for Miami.
Yeah, this is the guy that Miami wanted. I think when they approached the search, there was a few names tossed around, but Mario just made the most sense. I mean, he obviously played at Miami. He went to high school less than 20 minutes away at Miami Columbus, which has a ton of huge alumni that are also alumni of the University of Miami. So this one just made sense. And, actually over the weekend, I was with someone who went to school with Mario Cristobal. We were just kind of talking about this whole thing, and they're like, oh, he's absolutely going to come home. And I think the other thing people forget is he's a Cuban-American. They seem to always stick together, and mom's back home. So this makes a ton of sense, and I think it makes Miami potentially a college football playoff contender one day, assuming Mario builds this out like we think he will. And, the ACC's kind of taking on water with Dabo's staff. Going to have to make some changes there at Clemson, so it'll be interesting. But I think if you're a Miami fan, you should definitely be excited.
They should be excited. There is hope for the future. Everything seems to be trending in the right way. I think a lot of people are still kind of scratching their heads, though, on how they got to the right way in handling the Manny Diaz situation.
Yeah, I think with Manny Diaz, he was kind of given an unfair set of circumstances. I don't know how much the administration had backed him from the jump. And as much as there was the lows, I go to that loss to Florida International, that loss to Louisiana Tech. I mean, those are pretty lows. But at the same time, Manny embraced the transfer portal well before others. He went out and got a guy like Jalen Phillips, former number one player that was 215 pounds, and he gave him a chance, and now that guy's setting records as a rookie for the Miami Dolphins. So, I think he did some good. He changed his offenses, but at the same time, he wasn't maybe given the funding, and it got to a point where some decision makers, some people that can pull some strings, they want Miami to be the Miami of old, and they were willing to write the checks. And it seems like Miami wants to be a big boy in college football, so that's why Manny's out and Mario's in.
And Andrew, I know in the past Mario had, and it's one of the reasons why he left to go work for Nick Saban. He worried about Miami, absolutely, committing themselves to the sport of college football. And as you talked about, writing the checks and upgrading the facilities. I know it's very early in this process. He's going to make, an astronomical salary, $8 million a year, we hear. But are they going to potentially build a stadium? Are they going to commit to the facilities that Mario is going to need ultimately to win at the highest level?
I mean, we'll see what Mario says in his introductory press conference here in a little bit. I don't know if the stadium was the biggest thing that he's going to want. I think it's more of funding. And he was, from what I gathered, he was fighting for money for his assistant coaches, and I think that will translate to off the field stuff as well. Billy Napier at Florida, his opening press conference, that's all he mentioned was off-field staffers and building that out and having an army of people. I think Mario's going to be the same way. There's talks of the stadium. I don't know if it's going to happen, and I always circle back to the 2017 game when Miami took on Notre Dame under Mark Richt, and they were 10-0. I mean, that thing was as loud as anything, and I think College Game Day said it was the second loudest atmosphere. So if you win, they come. I just don't really know if they need an on-campus stadium. I don't know if it's going to make sense. I don't know if you guys have been to Hard Rock recently. It's a state-of-the-art facility, so we'll see. I think Mario is more concerned about money for his assistant coaches.
Yeah, now that Miami is stepping up the money, they get Mario Cristobal out of Oregon, and we had some people ask us this morning, why take a coach out of the Pac-12? Yes, I mean, he's kind of elevated Oregon, but he hasn't been able to take that next step out of the Pac-12. But we've been saying that Mario Cristobal is an excellent, excellent recruiter. And in a hotbed like Miami down there in Coral Gables, he should be able to recruit top-tier talent to Miami pretty easy.
Yeah, look, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, all these other schools have come down to Miami and in the South Florida Metro, and they've kind of just gotten who they want whenever they want. Miami did get some of them, talk a few 5-stars into staying last year during that pandemic year, but for the most part, they've been rated. And I think Mario is going to be able to not keep all of them. I mean, Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, they're going to get their guys. But I think Mario is going to be able to keep more than ever of those guys home, and that's huge. I mean, he's a guy that doesn't need a GPS to get around here. It sounds like the high school circles of coaches, they like Mario. They're going to want to send their kids to play for Mario, and I think that was an issue with Manny Diaz. So, absolutely, I think he's going to shoot some talent into Miami, and I think it's going to be right away. Look, he was recruiting nationally at Oregon. He's already built some relationships with top guys around the country. So I think you're going to see Miami notch it up locally, and then maybe poach some kids from different parts of the country, because Mario has a national brand right now, and kids know who he is.
Well, and Andrew, I know that the signing period is going to be upon us in less than 10 days, and Mario is going to try to put together the staff quickly also. How big an impact can he have as far as with this group? And then we know his first full cycle that he will hit it hard, but he's got just a few days. How quickly can he turn this thing? Because we've already seen a lot of kids decommit from Oregon that I thought maybe a few of them might follow him.
I'm surprised by that as well. We'll see if those kids visit this weekend. TJ Dudley, a linebacker from your guys' neck of the woods right there in Alabama. He's never seen Miami before, so I just think it would be hard for him to visit this weekend and then sign. I mean, if he does, that just speaks volumes about Mario Cristobal. But I think Miami can get a few in the boat. They're sitting right now outside the top 50 in the 24/7 Sports Composite team rankings. I think there's a chance they could rise up into the top 25 by the time the early signing period's over. I'm going to give you guys two names, Nigel E. Kelly, a defensive end from Fort Lauderdale. he told me last week if Oregon was located in South Florida, he'd be committed to Oregon. Well, Oregon isn't, but Miami is, and Mario Cristobal's there. And then the other one, I think your listeners would be interested, Earl Little Jr., cornerback at a Plantation American Heritage. He's been considered an Alabama lead throughout this recruiting process. But I think Miami is a team to watch here. You know, his dad played for the Hurricanes. Dad wasn't really high on the Manny Diaz regime, but he seems to like Mario Cristobal. So I'm keeping my eye on him, and I want to see if he visits this weekend because I think Miami can get those two guys. And then anything really after that, I think it would be icing on the top. I mean, like we said, it's not a lot of time, so we'll see. But those two guys, it seems like Mario wants, and I think he would absolutely take them.
Very interesting. That would definitely be a big blow to Alabama. I know Earl Little is a guy they've led for throughout the process. Of course, his high school coach, Pat Surtain, whose son has had a great career at Alabama and now doing well in the NFL. But as you said, Earl Little's father, a Hurricane. So that is going to be very interesting to see how that plays out going forward for the University of Alabama. And then, of course, there's Devin Moore, too. He's a decommit from Notre Dame. It'd be interesting to see. He's a Sunshine State native if he considers the Miami Hurricanes also. And then the coaching staff, any early buzz on who may come with Mario?
Yeah, well, Alex Mirabal, Oregon's offensive line coach, he's a South Florida native. He's what I would consider, kind of one of Mario's troops. I think he's for sure going to come. The defensive coordinator and the offensive coordinator hires will be pretty interesting. My guy David Lake at Inside the U, which is the 24/7 sports affiliate for the Miami. I was talking to him. He thinks Mario's going to go big game hunting on that defensive line or for that defensive coordinator position. He tossed out the name Dan Lanning. I don't know how realistic that is. One name I've heard for offensive coordinator is James Coley, who's currently at Texas A&M. He's a guy from down here. I initially heard he was interested in the FIU head coaching vacancy, but that's a bit of a mess in terms of a roster standpoint. So I could see him calling plays for Mario. I could also see Kendall Briles, who is calling plays right now for Arkansas. I think there's some interest from his end. I've heard that. So we'll see. I expect a lot of guys with ties to South Florida, but Mario's got a ton of money to work with, and I think he's going to get aggressive and try to get the best of the best.
Well, it's going to be interesting. And the press conference is later this afternoon, correct?
No, it's going to be here in about 20 minutes.
So in the morning.
Local.
Okay.
Yeah, 9 a.m. for you guys.
9 a.m. Mario Cristobal introduced. Andrew Ivins will have full coverage of that. Andrew, let everybody know how to connect with you in your work and to follow this recruiting odyssey that Mario is going to go on, this run, and, of course, putting together his first staff at Miami.
Yeah, you can follow me, Andrew_Ivins on Twitter. My work's all over 247sports.com. I got one last nugget for you guys.
Yes, sir.
Marvin Jones Jr., the five-star pass rusher out of Plantation American Heritage. I've heard some buzz about him and Bama as of late, so I think he's a name that the Crimson Tide folks definitely have to keep an eye on here over the next few days.
Well, we appreciate that nugget as well. Everybody does that follows the Crimson Tide recruiting. You do great work, Andrew. Thank you as always for the time, sir, and we appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks, Andrew Ivins, with us. When we come back, Drew, NIL deals getting out of hand, and Ohio State loses a quarterback. We haven't had a chance to talk about that. All that and more when we return.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Got wreck on 72, reported at Moore's Mill, but sounds like it may be closer to Shields Road. Madison Boulevard in Shelton had an injury involved. There's lots of blockage there. 72 eastbound at Doug Hill. They were trying to get that one moved out of there. And look for bridge beam work on Research Park at Old Madison Pike. They'll have traffic at time stopped for as long as 15 minutes. Do you know who to call when you need a heart doctor? You could write this name down right now. Dr. Randall Burns at Huntsville Heart Specialist, where they have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Tom Luganbill here for Woody Anderson Ford. When I was in the Tennessee Valley, one of the things that impressed me the most was the quality of the people. People like Bobby White and his team at Woody Anderson Ford. And now you can experience the tremendous new service lanes and showroom at Woody Anderson Ford, at Jordan and Sparkman, or just stop by for breakfast or lunch at Henry's Mustang Cafe. And in Madison, visit Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, just south of 72. Like a great college football tradition, always there, Woody Anderson Ford.
I'm Chris Haygood at Bob Wallace Appliance.
Hey Dad, if someone gets an appliance for Christmas, how will Santa get it down the chimney?
Magic.
Madeline, part of the magic of the season is our chance to get together again. More often than not, those gatherings will be in the kitchen. Look for holiday savings on the best brands you already know and trust, like Whirlpool, KitchenAid, and Maytag.
Santa's gonna need some help delivering those.
That's what we're here for.
Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman.
Bob Wallace Appliance.
Sitting here with Mark Kent of Southern Fidelity Mortgage Group of Huntsville. Mark, do you help pre-qualify people?
We pre-qualify people all the time, Wes. As a matter of fact, I love having them coming in here because when they come in and they pre-qualify, they can leave my office knowing exactly how much they can buy and have no worries.
Mark, tell me about your rates and pricing.
Well, Wes, this is something we're really, really proud of. Long story short is, I love being able to provide the best pricing in town. Honestly, I cannot tell you the last time I lost a deal to either rate or pricing, something I'm very proud of.
So what all financing options do you have, Mark?
We do several different things. If you're purchasing a home, we can handle the purchase. If you're wanting to refinance your home, of course, rates are at the lowest they've been in the last 3 years. We do a lot of refinancing. If you're building a home, we can handle the entire process from breaking ground to the final close.
Do you sleep with your phone?
Wes, if you want to reach me, you can call me at my office phone, which is 256-562-1000. But always remember, I sleep with my cell phone at night. That number is 256-656-5936.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
It is time for your headlines, tomorrow's headlines today. That means back with us this morning in studio, since we are back in studio. Jordy's with us this morning.
How's it going, guys?
Good, Jordy. Good to see you, man. Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. I think it's the first time we've connected since everybody ate too much.
I ate a lot of good food. I was going to ask you guys, did any one of you guys have any chitterlings?
Any who?
Any chitterlings.
No.
By me asking who, that's going to be a pretty resounding no. I do a lot of different foods, but I have what the heck are you talking about?
Have you never heard of them before?
Chitlings?
There you go, chitlings. I was trying to say it the proper way, chitterlings. But we say chitlings too.
I've always heard them referred to as chitlings. I don't know anything else other than that. I still haven't had them, but still do.
Well, the first headline I got for you guys today, it's Blake Topmeyer from Tuscaloosa News, he had wrote an article, and it was basically saying why it needed Alabama football as much as it needed Cincinnati. And he opens up with the whole comparison saying you can't have a David and Goliath story without Goliath. And I actually really agree with that. All this Alabama fatigue talk, and, they're the champions. I mean, they're the defending champions. Would you not want to knock them off in the playoffs?
Well, that's what I was thinking too, Drew, and that's a good point. Cincinnati was clamoring to get into the playoffs. They thought the group of 5 is wanting a seat at the table with the big boys. Okay, if Cincinnati gets into the playoffs and they face let's just say they face a Michigan team who gets there once in a while, or they face somebody else and they may play it close, everyone's going to say, oh, Cincinnati deserves it. Cincinnati deserves this. Cincinnati is going up against the SEC. They are going up against Alabama. The standard right now when it comes to the college football playoffs. If they play Alabama close, people are going to say Cincinnati deserves to be there. If they somehow pull off a miracle and get the upset, they're going to clamor even more. But if they go out and lay a complete egg, this isn't only Cincinnati. This is the future of the group of 5 at the table.
Yeah, it is. It's a huge impact game for the Bearcats and Luke Fickell as they earn their opportunity here. And for Alabama, it's a chance to repeat as national champions. Nick Saban has done that one time in 2011, 2012. It's very difficult to do. He's already repeated as SEC champion and won 8 now and during his storied run in Tuscaloosa. But for Cincinnati, yeah, there's so much at stake here. And that's why Alabama has to prepare. You have to be ready to play because Cincinnati is going to play with a huge chip on their shoulder. They're playing for much more than just themselves, and they're playing for the future of the college football playoff and also trying to justify a 12-team playoff and expansion that is coming.
In the words of the great Ric Flair, to beat the man, to be the man, you've got to beat the man.
Certainly, Kirby can't do that right now, but he does get another chance. Hopefully he won't throw up all over himself against Michigan, but I will be rooting for the maize and blue.
If Georgia comes out and stumbles against Michigan, everyone's going to be like the SEC.
The most overrated team in the history of college football would be the Georgia Bulldogs if they don't beat the Michigan Wolverines. After all the garbage that we heard all year long about generational defense, best we've ever seen, all this and that. So get your head out of your ass and beat Michigan and prove you're worth a dang, okay? Because you threw up all over yourself on national television in the last game. After basically your fans did all the talking, crowned themselves like they always do before the game. You should have seen all these idiots before the game who basically thought it was going to be a coronation, and it was glorious to watch Alabama stomp a mud hole in them in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome and watch all these morons head to the exits in the middle of the fourth quarter when they were so crestfallen that they couldn't believe their beloved dogs weren't going undefeated and they were going to call them the greatest team in history, which is what those morons would have done. But obviously you're not going to be that, but you can still finally erase your DVDs and your VHS tapes. You still got a chance if you can get your head out of your rectum.
Well, we're referring to it as a new word today with the R word. All right, Jordy.
All right, so Matthew Judon, he was having a little fun with Mac Jones after that game, and at the post-press conference, he had said, hats off to the offense, probably besides Mac. He really didn't do nothing besides hand the ball off. So,
No, he didn't. And then the best was Bill Belichick, Drew, was asked on WEEI, I believe is that the radio station up there in New England. And Jordy is a writer for the New England Patriots, by the way, so he was busy last night. Bill Belichick was asked about, because they're going to see the Bills again in a few weeks, and Bill said, well, we don't have to really dust off the passing plays because we'd only used 3 of them in the game. He goes, so we're pretty good as far as passing plays go the next time we see the Bills.
They're definitely good there. I mean, I think the coolest thing was Mac's attitude or whatever after the game, during the game, Mac Jones, he stuck to the script and everything, and he didn't get upset or anything like that. And how many passing plays that he had, and I thought that was pretty cool.
He should have done the old quote from the commercial, and it does fit in Buffalo. Only winners get wings. And they won, no matter what it looked
That's
like.
right. And you know what? Back was it 2015? He tweeted out he had never seen snow.
Yeah.
He saw snow last night.
And some wind, but especially the wind. The wind was brutal. And everybody that was, trying to say, well, they don't believe in Mac. Yes, they do. It's just that they were playing to the conditions. When the wind is blowing like that, it's very difficult to throw the ball accurately.
Yeah.
And again, I think they would have thrown a little bit more if they were losing the game. But from the jump, they took the lead, as we talked about in hour one.
Buffalo can't tackle. Keep running.
Yeah.
All right, couple little things here. One, every offensive lineman at the University of Texas will get $50,000 now as a part of a new NIL agreement.
You still suck.
And then, speaking of Texas, Quinn Ewers, is that his name? He was an early enrollee at Ohio State. Big NIL
Why
winner.
did he skip his senior year of high school? I know he wanted $1 million.
He's in the transfer portal, by the way.
I know he is, but he should have just stayed in school and then either gone to Ohio State or gone to one of these Texas schools. From what I was hearing last night, it's going to end up being Texas Tech that he's probably going to end up matriculating to. But, I mean, he's got $1 million in the bank. So, he can certainly take his offensive line to dinner, but he hasn't played yet. So, he's basically a redshirt freshman, and he'll probably be in Lubbock, Texas, which means I think that Steve Sarkisian is still all in on Arch Manning, who may not want to lose his whole career. But I'll just say this for Sark. I love Sark. Win. You got to win, and you got to win in a hurry, or you and Manny are going to be at the same beach house. I mean,
All right. Well, I don't think we could put any more in the 2 hours. We could have put Will Anderson in the Heisman. But you know what, Drew? Dan Woken says on Twitter, and I quote, "Why are people basically getting upset over the Heisman?"
Well, that's another tone-deaf tweet from Dan because he's a dumbass. So that's a good way to end the show. A dumbass tweet.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow morning, Wednesday. It's our Wednesday show tomorrow.
Huntsville.